A History of Ancient and Early Medieval India from the Stone Age to the 12th Century, written by Upinder Singh. Now I am going to start chapter 1, Understanding Literary and Archaeological Sources. In 1148 CE, Kalhana, a man with literary and scholarly ambitions, began writing a book. Kalhana belonged to a well connected Brahmana family of Kashmir. His father, Chanpaka, was at one time closely associated with the royal court, but by the time Kalhana was born, the family had fallen out of favor. Kalhana worked hard for 2 years, recording local traditions and examining manuscripts, chronicles, inscriptions, coins, and monuments. He drew on his family members' political experience and his personal observation of events that were unfolding in his own lifetime. The book was completed in 1150 CE and was titled Raj Tarangini, River of Kings, consisting of 8 cantos, each called a Taranga, wave. It gave a connected account of the kings of Kashmir from the early ones of legend to the historical rulers of the 12th century. Kalhana is often described as India's first historian. He asserts in the Rastarangini that a person who recounts the events of the past must do so like a judge, without bias or prejudice. However, his book does not always distinguish between fact and legend and often explains events by citing fate. It is not surprising that there are differences in perspective between a 12th century historian such as Kalhana and historians of more recent times. Moreover, Kalhana considered himself preliminarily a gifted and skillful poet, one who could make pictures of the past came vividly alive. He described the natural beauty of Kashmir with pride and feeling, wove lively character sketches, and gave dramatic descriptions of political events. The past, like the present, is complex and can be looked at from many perspectives. There can never be a single, final, perfect history. There can never be a complete or exact picture of what happened in the past. The task of the historian is to bring us as close as possible to such a picture. Historical analysis involves carefully examining the available sources of information, searching for fresh evidence, and devising creative, innovative ways of interpreting historical data. It involves asking new questions and searching for new answers to old ones. Debate and disagreement are an important part of the growth of all form of knowledges, and history is no exception. All historical interpretations are ultimately based on evidence derived from the sources of history, conventionally divided into two categories, literary and archaeological. From a historian's point of view, literary sources include all texts, long or short, written or oral. Archaeological sources include all tangible material remains, but these distinctions are not absolute. All remains of the past, including literary manuscripts, are actually material in nature, and certain kinds of archaeological sources which have writing on them, inscriptions, coin, and inscribed images, can be considered both material objects and text. The way in which historians have used different kinds of sources to construct the history of ancient and early medieval India will become clear as you read this book. This chapter gives a broad overview of the major sources, highlighting their general features and the important issues that have to be kept in mind while using them as windows to the past. Reading ancient texts from a historical point of view. All literary works are connected to the historical context in which they are produced and in which they circulate. However, an ancient text does not necessarily offer a simple or direct reflection of the society of its time. It constitutes a complex representation of that society and a refracted image of the past. Information has to be based out with care.